Good evening, residents of Everett, Washington. I'd like to call the order the Everett City Council meeting, September 18th, 2024. For information on council meetings and how to participate, please visit everettwa.gov/city council website. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Franklin.
She's excused.
Vice President Zerlingo.
Here.
Councilmember Vogely.
Here.
Councilmember Fossey.
Here.
Councilmember Toohey.
Excused.
Councilmember Ryan.
Here.
Councilmember Bader.
Here.
President Schwab.
Here. At this time, I'd like to ask Councilmember Zarlingo to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And this time, I'd like to ask Councilmember Bader to read the land acknowledgement.
Yes. The City Council wishes to acknowledge the original inhabitants of this place, the Stohoksha people and their successors, the Tulalip tribes. Since time immemorial, they have hunted, fished, gathered on, and taken care of these lands and waters. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and water. We will strive to be honest about our past mistakes and bring about a future that includes their people, stories, and voices to form a more just and equitable society.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion for approval of the minutes for September 11th, 2024?
Councilor Ryan moves approval of the minutes of September 11th, 2024.
Second.
Motion and second has been made. Clerk, please take the roll.
Vice President Zerlingo.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Fossey.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Now it's time for public comment, which includes written comment acknowledgement. Under our rules, written comments shall be considered in the same manner as oral comments. The commenter must provide their name and city of residence. Written comments require this to be made part of the official council record. Hi, Angie. Do we have any written comments or anyone signed up to speak this evening?
Good evening, President Schwab. We have no written comments and no public comment.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to council comments and liaison reports. Councilmember Zarlingo.
Thank you. Well, several things, several meetings with relationship to the city's interests. First of them was the Audit Exit Conference with Councilmember Vogely yesterday. I attended the annual Audit Exit Conference. This is where Washington State auditors review the results of their set of 3 annual audits of the city, including the financial statements and federal grant compliance. And I'm bringing this up specifically because clear and reliable financials are always important, but especially now when we're working on really difficult financial choices and trade-offs to arrive at a balanced budget for the coming year. This is the 3rd year that I've attended these conferences, and I'm really gratified that Everett has always passed the audit with a clean finding. Beyond that, I also noted that our finance department also participates in the Government Finance Officers Association's optional program, the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This optional program encourages governments to go beyond the regular requirements and to do more for transparency and full disclosure. So I'd like to recognize the work of our accounting manager, Tatiana Sarmiento, and assistant accounting manager, Rayanne Nielsen. Also, if that isn't enough, the Finance Department's Budget Division participates in an optional program as well, the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, that encourages production of budget documents of the highest quality. For this, I'd like to recognize the work of Assistant Finance Director Jamie Graves and Budget Manager Yi Lu. And for all these efforts, credit should go to our Finance Director also, Heidi Brontes, and I beg forgiveness for any names that I have mangled. Then yesterday with Councilmember Ryan, I attended the Snohomish County's Regional Law and Justice Council meeting. This council brings together court representatives, public defenders, law enforcement, social service resources, members of the community, and city and county elected officials. It's the largest single area, or the public safety's largest single area of our budget, and deals with one of the biggest sets of problems we face in the city and the county and really the region. For this meeting, we were discussing electronic home monitoring, an alternative to jail for both pretrial and post-sentencing situations. There's currently an effort to bring this alternative back to more common use when appropriate, preserving both accountability and justice while reducing the costs and the life impacts of incarceration. There's work underway to use grants to pay for this when appropriate, which can reduce jail costs that we and the county pay and give some folks the chance to continue to be in their community and earning rather than being supported by city funds. And then lastly, attended last week the Puget Sound Regional Council's Transportation Policy Board and Transit Caucuses. I represented Everett at these meetings, and it was a long meeting. I won't go into detail here. Just to summarize that this is work on our regional transportation plan and related issues so that the various jurisdictions in these fast-growing counties coordinate and work together. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Vogely.
Good evening, everyone. Tomorrow is the Transportation Advisory Committee, which I will be attending, and on the agenda are two items besides all of the various reports that are always interesting. Setting safe speed limits, policy and practice, and also pedestrian safety. So if you want to get up early, early for me, it's at 8 a.m. at the Spada Conference Room at 3200 Cedar Street. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fosse.
Thank you. I'll be brief in my comments. First, I just wanted to make a quick motion to work with legal on a tenant relocation assistance policy, and then I would just need a second.
Councilor Ryan seconds.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And then I wanted to make mention about something in the consent items today, something that you should be very, very happy about because it is kind of the closed loop of community work being done. There was a construction for some pedestrian improvements. Basically, it's the been in works for a very long time. We actually, looks like we're gonna get finally those sidewalks going to the built playground at Jackson Park many, many, many years ago before I was in this office. And I even lived at a different house. We were advocating for our beautifully newly built park, our playground there, to have safe sidewalks leading up to it. And because they had the park built and it looked amazing, but all the roads leading to it and cross over a busy, like kind of arterial, there was no sidewalks actually for the families to walk there. So one of the things that our community did was advocate for sidewalks and safe transport for our neighbors to be able to get there and kids to walk there up to the park. And you'll see on our consent agenda that they actually have a construction contract for that project coming up. And this is why being involved in your community, in your neighborhoods, in advocacy and all that, it's taken many years, obviously, but this is why that type of work is really, really important. And I'm just excited to see it there. So I won't be joining you next week because I will be at the White House. So that's all.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Ryan.
Great, thanks. Good evening, everybody. So a slight correction to Councilmember Zarlingo, though I was at the Regional Law and Justice Commission. I was there with my county hat on as more of an observer and administrative support, and it was Chief DeRoos and Councilmember Zarlingo that were there on behalf of the city. It was a very great discussion. Definitely would recommend folks joining. It's open to the public as well. Speaking of the county and the consent agenda items, I'm very pleased to see the the authorization of the $4 million acceptance for the Everett Gospel Mission expansion. I think that's going to be incredibly impactful for our city and for the whole county to make sure that people have safe, decent place to stay in the evenings. And so thank you to Everett Gospel Mission, John Hall, I see you here, for the work that you've done to have a compassionate approach to ensuring that everybody has housing with dignity. So, and thank you too to MJ for the hard work that the county's done to make sure that it's gotten to this point. I know it's been a long time coming and there's been a couple of false starts, so I'm glad that we're here at the finish line, so thank you. This week on Monday I attended the Lowell Neighborhood Association meeting, and on Tuesday I attended the Valley View Neighborhood Association meeting, and it was a great discussion about our budget and our budget woes, and really good feedback from the neighbors about things that they would like to see protected and preserved, and also things that they it's always hard to say that they would be okay with cutting, because I don't think anybody's okay with cutting anything, but it was just a good discussion and good feedback from everybody. Next week, the Beverly Park Pinehurst neighborhood, in lieu of a meeting, is going to be hosting a bingo event at the Boys and Girls Club at 6:30. So if you're in the area, I encourage you to stop by. And also wanted to make sure that folks knew that the Monte Cristo Award nominations are now open through September 30th. So there's 4 or 5 different categories, and there's more information on the city's website about the awards. So I'd encourage people to apply to nominate themselves or a neighbor. And then last but not least, happy International Equal Pay Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Bader.
Thanks, Council President. Last night attended the library board meeting, and a good, if sobering, presentation by our library director to the library board about how she's proposing they deal with the cuts they're going to have to make in light of our budget constraints. Some of it's still up in the air until the voluntary separation program 45-day window expires, but I think she and the board did about as good a job as you can do to preserve services in light of the difficult financial situation. I think it was also informed by a library staff survey about what they would like or suggest be cut, or how to deal with budget constraints, and I know that influenced the library director's proposal, and I think most of that information, if not all of it, is up on their part of the website. So very interesting, but good discussion on the part of the library board as well. Thank you.
For my report, Councilmember Fossey and I are part of the Financial Advisory Committee for the multipurpose facility. Thanks to Councilmember Fossey's leadership, and it's really becoming more, not just baseball, but we're really growing in the soccer area. So multipurpose truly is going to be the definition. I know we are meeting with some various type of soccer leagues that have some really good potential, and specifically when it comes to funding. So that's the good news. The committee will come back with some options in November, December. The big step we're waiting for is the environmental impact study. And when that comes out, that's going to include any potentially hidden costs that we may have to find funding for. So the goal will be basically 2 sites, and the funding options will be before us. So we'll have some more tough questions and more tough answers to come up with to decide in the end what we want to do with that. So I am confident that we'll come up with at least some solid recommendations. Okay, moving on to administration. Do we have an update?
Just a quick note that Mayor sends her regrets. She's on a fully sponsored, so no city funds, trip to Washington DC to discuss innovative city housing policy initiatives, good things that we have done here in Everett. Gives her a chance to touch base with a handful of grants that we're seeking funding from different federal agencies. So it's a nice bonus to get some time to advocate for the city. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. On to our city attorney, David Hall. Do we have something?
There's no report from legal, but we are requesting a 15-minute executive session to discuss 2 potential litigation matters pursuant to RCW 4231.10.1I with anticipated council action to follow.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to our 4 consent items.
Councilor Ryan moves approval of the 4 consent agenda items.
Second.
Motion and second has been made. Clerk, please take the roll.
Vice President Zerlingo?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely?
Yes.
Councilmember Fossey?
Abstain.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
President Schwab?
Yes. Okay, moving on to our proposed action items. We have item number 5, second reading. It's already been read into the record. At this point, do we have any questions or comments? Councilmember Vogely?
Yes. I didn't write them down, of course. let's see, but I had spoken earlier about, let's see, I should have it here. Jail fees and wanting to make sure to get the, sorry, taking time. The jail rate history for the completion of 2023 and what we are at for 2024. The days that, how many inmates, daily housing rate, and the daily housing fees. I know that we have had, I have from 2017 in a structured document that Susie provided before she was gone. So I'm sure that's still around. And wanted to get some more information about the assistant finance director, not the person who is in that position, but how indeed it was created and when, and consent from the council for such new positions. Yep, those are my questions. And since I didn't write them in an email, I don't expect you to have that answer today.
Would you like to, can we bring staff up and was there some specific question that we could handle now, or you just want to wait?
If you've got the data, then great, but I just imagine that it's not at hand. But if it is, bring it on up.
Is staff prepared to answer any of the questions? I figured, well,
Because I said I didn't write them an email beforehand.
if we can take care of it now, just prevent, since they're here. Would you rather wait?
I think we'd rather wait.
Okay, great. I just want to give you the opportunity.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Bader.
There was one question I had, and I did send by email. I don't necessarily expect an answer tonight, but I want to make sure it's surfaced about the concern I had about the traffic camera positions that you spoke about in the workforce adjustments. Concern there that we anticipate traffic camera revenue will go down drastically as people get used to and change their behavior. And I just wanted to, I think my question centered around making sure we weren't getting in a situation where we were funding positions that in a couple of years we might have to let go of. So again, don't necessarily expect an answer today, but just want to make sure that one question was out there. Thanks.
Excellent. Any other questions perhaps staff can be prepared to answer, either email or in our next meeting? Okay, all right. So before we go on to our action item, administration had asked that we bring an authorization for the mayor to sign a community solar panel fiber optic line easement agreement. And I think we have it before us.
If we need a motion to begin
Yeah.
discussion, I will
Yeah.
make the motion to approve the, I don't know if we're calling it item number 7, 6A? or-
We'll make it 7.
7,
Item
thank you.
7.
Item 7 regarding the fiber optic line easement for the community solar project.
Okay.
Councilor Ryan seconds.
Okay, so discussion.
It seemed pretty informative on the site, so I don't have any questions, but if administration wanted to summarize it since it's new to the agenda. Maybe.
Okay, that would be good. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
Jennifer.
that's appropriate.
Okay.
My apologies that it, very unusually, it came to you at the last moment, just kind of where files are saved, mix up, and maybe a little bit of someone out of the office, but either way, we have it for you now, and luckily it is a fairly routine easement. It's related to the community solar project that is at Walter E. Hall. So this facilitates utility connection, and I know our Parks and Facilities staff would appreciate, we had committed to your approval on this night, and then we didn't do the rest of the steps, but we did them now. So it's helpful to just kind of keep that project moving forward, and it facilitates what is a really great project with great coordination with community leaders in that area, so.
Any other questions? Councilmember Vogely.
Looking at the photo, I guess I'm wondering, is that on the same trajectory as the parks trail that is being implemented soon. And it's overhead, I'm reading that, right? So we'll be seeing it. It's not
Yes.
underground.
Right.
Okay, any other questions?
Is there an answer?
Oh, I thought she
Yes.
said yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
didn't hear it.
Okay,
It was quiet, so, yeah.
okay, good. So, any other questions? Okay, no more questions. Clerk, please take the roll.
Vice President Zerlingo?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely?
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
President Schwab?
Yes. All right, moving on to our action item. Item number 6, adopt and amend council procedure resolution with an effective date of October 30th, 2024.
Councilmember Bader, so moves.
Councilmember Ryan, second.
Councilmember Fosse?
I wanted to say thank you to Angie for working on the edits to this. I had some things that I thought could be improved upon, and she worked diligently and hard to get that done. There was one thing on here that I didn't bring up that I just noticed. We have some gendered language on there that I think can just be replaced with a standard like there and whatnot. Is that something I would need an amendment for? Or can that just be like a Scribner's?
No, yeah, you've expressed your policy in the past to get rid of gendered language whenever possible, and we can, I think, attribute that to Scrivener's error
Okay.
and correct that without a
Would,
motion.
would you mind taking a look at that? That's the only thing I saw. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Councilmember Ryan?
Great, thank you. I did want to, I have one thing to bring up, and then I do have an amendment that I'd like to make. I don't know if it's too late, but I had mentioned it in an email this week for everybody's food for thought about having our daytime meetings starting, the policy that we passed last week, our daytime meetings, the 12:30 meetings starting next month on the 23rd instead of the 30th. So then it's the 4th and 5th Wednesday instead of it being a confusing kickoff to our daytime meetings. So I'm not sure if we can go back and amend that, but this ordinance tonight also has an effective date of October 30th. So I'm seeing a possible opportunity to have both of them start on the 4th Wednesday of next month, which would be in line with our new cadence for daytime meetings.
If that's,
Councilmember Bader?
if that's a motion, I would second that.
I wanted to check, see if
Oh,
that's
sorry.
possible first to,
So that would deviate from the ordinance that was passed last week? Am I understanding that correctly?
yeah, last week I had made a motion to have the effective date be October 30th, and then as I was laying in bed that night thinking about the meeting, I realized it should have probably been the 23rd, which would have started our 4th and 5th Wednesday meeting cadence. I'm not sure if we can bring it back or if
Yeah,
it's too late.
because it was an ordinance, it would have to start the clock again with 3 readings for an amendment to the ordinance.
Okay, so
Yeah, sorry.
don't have time. That's
We'll
fine.
have some special challenges here, getting our
All right,
our
just
cadence
felt like
down. Thanks for
felt like a
thinking
good time
of
to bring
me.
it up. But I would like to make a motion to amend this ordinance, resolution before us. Section 3, subsection 4, which is page 4 of my PDF here, to strike the line saying, "and state the reason for the member's inability to attend the meeting," if we're, and I'd be happy to speak to it if there's a second.
Second.
Thank you. If we're emailing to share that we will be absent at a public meeting, that is a public record, and we're all adults, and I don't think we need to share the reason on public record why we won't be able to attend. I think that the public holds us accountable for being here or not being here. So I don't think it's necessary to have to state the reason that we won't be in attendance unless you're gonna be at the White House or something.
Okay, so we have an amendment. We have a motion and a second for the amendment. Any other discussion on the amendment? Okay, clerk, please take the roll on the amendment.
Vice President Zerlingo?
I'm going to abstain.
Councilmember Vogely?
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
President Schwab?
Yes. Okay, move back to the amended resolution. Further discussion. Councilmember Vogely?
Kind of, sorta. We do have time to create another ordinance and still have the 3 readings to get our start date for daytime meetings on October 23rd. So before we end this meeting, I would like to propose that. So we can start our daytime meetings on the 23rd.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
So you've made a motion and a second to work with legal to draft an amended ordinance to that effect. Okay.
Yes, please, thank you.
Any other discussion? So we're talking about a motion to draft a new ordinance.
I think David was implying that you might pass this ordinance as it's before you, but that following that,
Okay.
those two would work on,
This is a
What's
resolution.
before them
here.
is just a
yeah.
resolution, so we're good there.
We're gonna have to redo the ordinance that we just passed.
right, but you don't need to take a vote on it or anything.
We don't have to take what?
You wouldn't need, I just interrupted because I felt like you were getting to the point of saying, let's vote on that motion, but it was just one of those two council member motions, go work on it kinds.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted clarification that we're actually be rewriting the ordinance. Okay. Councilmember Zarlingo.
I guess I'm just wondering if it's worth the administrative time and overhead load for this. Maybe a question for those who are more focused on it than I am, but that's my only concern.
Not to like jump on it again, but is there a possibility to just make it a special meeting?
That would work.
And then we don't change the
You- I mean,
procedures? It's about one
You're more
meeting.
familiar with our procedures and timing for getting ordinances and cover sheets on the agenda than I am.
Yeah,
Typically, in order to work with legal to come up with a new or amended ordinance takes several weeks. And by that time, the timing problem that you're worried about has come and gone.
Councilmember Fosse.
While I think it would have been a good idea, I do hear the concerns about putting extra time and effort from staff when we already have like a thin staff. And then I think creating the addition, if it was an easy thing, yes, but it sounds like it has a little bit of extra effort. If we're going to do a special meeting, then we'll have to set up all the remote capabilities and advertise to the public. It would just be more confusing, I think, for the public than the benefit that would have been if we had originally had it that way. So that's my sentiments on it.
Okay, so we still have a directive and in a second to the city attorney right at this point.
At this point, I wouldn't mind just working on the resolution that we're voting on right now. I just didn't want to end the meeting before discussing this piece.
Okay, well, keep it just for point over, we have an ordinance that we've passed. And so the goal was to pass the ordinance first and then adjust the resolution to fit the ordinance. So if some of those changes, we have to go back to the ordinance. So,
So has the motion maker withdrawn the motion to work with legal for the amended ordinance at this point? Where are we on
Sure, I'll
that?
take back my motion.
okay,
Thank you.
all right, any other discussion? Okay, so let's, just as the chair, we have a resolution ordinance passed. Thank you, Councilmember Ryan, for bringing up the idea. We could have made the transition a little easier. I appreciate that thought, but I think we can get through it. Angie may have to write a few more emails. And so before us now, we have this resolution as amended. With the caveat, we're going to change some language, some of the definitions. Thank you. Councilmember Zarlingo.
Just a very short one. My apologies if I had not pushed last week for doing it then. We would have done it this tonight, and Councilmember Ryan's inspiration would have occurred in time. So I'm sorry for that.
All right. No further discussion. Clerk, please take the roll.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. And with that, we're going to have a recess for executive session with a potential decision. 15 minutes. Thank you. Okay, executive session is over. We're back into our regular meeting. At this point, we do have a motion. City Attorney David Hall, do you have a suggestion for our motion?
Yes, we have two matters tonight that we discussed in executive session. The first is proposed settlement of a workers' compensation claim that involves two presumptive illnesses by firefighter Donald Plucker. The two claims plus attorney's fees total $685,000. So we would like a motion to authorize the mayor to execute a settlement agreement with Donald Plucker in the total amount of $685,000.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Councilmember Bader so moves.
Councilmember Ryan, second.
Okay, motion second's been made. Clerk, please take the roll.
Vice President Zarlingo?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely?
Yes?
Councilmember Fosse?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
President Schwab?
Yes.
The second matter is a proposed settlement of a workers' compensation claim with firefighter Timothy Hogan in the total amount of $192,500. So we'd ask for a motion to authorize the mayor to execute a settlement agreement in that amount.
Councilmember Bader moves.
Councilmember Ryan, seconds.
Motion and second's been made. Clerk, please take the roll.
Vice President Zarlingo?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely?
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Bader?
Yes.
President Schwab?
Yes, and with no further business, meeting's adjourned.